Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to Adobe Flash ActionScript 3.0, Lesson 12, Classroom in the Book. In today's lesson, we'll be delving deeper into graphics and animation with ActionScript. In this lesson, we'll learn to do the following. Use inverse kinematics, IK tools in Flash. Use IK classes in Flash to create an advanced animation with ActionScript. Check whether users have a video camera or webcam available to their computers. Add sound effects to our animation. Access and display video from a webcam or connected camera using ActionScript. Create bitmap graphics with ActionScript. Take screen captures of Flash objects and save them as bitmap data. Examine the Adobe Pixel Bender Toolkit. Work with filters in ActionScript. Use an external class file to load filters created in the Pixel Bender Toolkit. Apply Pixel Bender filters to a snapshot from a live camera and use a slider to perform live modifications to the properties of a filter. Okay, so in this lesson, we'll be working with inverse kinematics, which is basically bones and armatures. Now, for those who have done the basic Flash CS5 or CS6 tutorials, classroom in the book, you may have been familiar with this. If not, just go back to one of my previous tutorials in which we used inverse kinematics to create a crane that picked up an item from an ocean. Okay, the link for that will be added below in the comment section. So, just to give you a slight recap of what it is, so I'm just going to open this file over here. And I'm going to go to this sample to show you what inverse kinematics is. Okay, so now as you can see, there's this hand here. Now what I'm going to do is that I am just going to select this whole thing here. And notice this is an armature. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to test the movie. So test the movie here. And notice this. Now notice I cannot move it here because it's not runtime. So that's going to give you an example of what it works, how it works. So I'm just going to come here and then notice I can actually move this hand here, and the way it moves is like it's as if there were joints in this armature here, and I can use it to point around. Okay, so that's basically what. In a nutshell, what inverse kinematics is. Now, all these are one item of these is considered a bone, and the round parts here are considered joints. And this is the joint here, the one which is highlighted in green here, that's the root joint. Okay, for this item here, select all this thing. Notice this one whole armature, and this green thing is the root. Okay, so now notice that there is this thing called the author time and runtime. Now in author time inverse kinematics, you control the animation of this object. So I can actually move it to different positions. For example, I can just insert frame over here, and then I can just come over here, and then I can put it to a different pose. And notice that it can move here. Move according to the bone structure. Now, if I were to run it now, okay, so I can actually make it move like this. Now, this allows us to do animation in the timeline. This is called author time animation. However, there's also another way in which we can do animation, create animation, which is allow people to do a runtime animation. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to remove come over here, and I'm going to just select this layer over here. And I'm going to change it to runtime. Okay. So, and then I'm going to clear this keyframe. Hold on. It's over here. I'm going to clear the pose. and I just gotta move it back here. And by setting this object here to runtime, I can do this when I'm running it. So I can actually allow the user to move it as and when he wants. So notice there are two types of armature settings. One is runtime and one is author time. Okay, so now that's just a brief introduction to inverse kinematics. Now I'm just gonna close this one. I'm not gonna save this. And for the tutorial proper, we'll be using ActionScript to animate our armature here. So let's just go over to our Finder, okay, and we're just going to open our Finder, and we're gonna open a new Finder window over here, and I'm just going to go to my desktop, ActionScript, lessons, and we're gonna go to lesson 12. And we're going to go into our start folder here. Now in our start folder here, we have two MP3 files. One is the click, one is the robot arm, which we'll be using to create some sound effects as our arm moves around. And there's one more is a filter, which we'll use later. So let's just double click this one to open up in Adobe Flash. Okay, so notice there's this arm here, which is basically the same arm that we saw in the earlier sample. And in the different layers, okay, so I'm just going to show the different layers. So this is interactive content. Now notice there's this snapshot button. So this item is called a snapshot button. This is the value text. This is another F slider. And over here, there's a filter button. And over this is our armature here. And finally, this is the graphics that we're going to be using here. Okay, so I'm just gonna, so it's a movie clip. Okay, so that's our basic stage layout for now. So let's just begin proper with putting some ActionScript over here. So over here, you just come in and type import fl.ik.star, which will import all the classes we need to use for inverse kinematics. Now the star is a wildcard, so they can import all the classes that we need. And below this, we'll just be adding these lines here. Okay, so we say ikmanager.track all armatures false. So what this does is that we want to use to control the armature. If we want to let the user drag the armature, then we'll set it to true. So if you set it to true, we allow the user to move it. But for now, we'll just keep it as false because we are not going to allow the user to do any action on it, on the armature. Now you can make a reference to any armature in a Flash file using ikmanager get armature add. Okay, and we'll be using this method here. So for example, you want to get a reference to our armature. You say arm0 ik armature equals ikmanager. Now you cannot make armatures programmatically in ActionScript. You have to create it in the Flash itself. But we can get references to it by saying, okay, you've got the ikmanager, and then this is a class method, and we say go get armature at 0. Now the index number tells us which armature we're going to be getting. Since there's only one armature and the indexing starts at 0, we know that it is at position number 0. Now the next thing is to get the different joints. So once by using the joints, you can animate the different parts of our armature here. So how do we do that? We can say var rt0 ik, which is a joint. Okay, and we got to say arm0, which is the first arm, and we got to get the root joint. Okay, so this is a property to get the root joint. The next part is that we want to get the different child, because notice in our animation here there's a child we've got one root over here, so inside one, so there's a child of this and a child of that. So we're going to go all the way to the end there to control the final child. So how do we do that? We come over here and we just say var jt0 ik joint equals to rt0 dot get child at 0, get child at 0, get child at 0. Now notice this interesting way of getting the child. Now this is actually equivalent to this. Okay, for example, I could say var j1 equals, I could say this rt0 dot get child at 0, and then I could say var j2 ik joint equals to j1 dot get child at 0, and I could say var j3 ik joint equals to j2 dot get child at 0. So these three statements is the same as this, right? So what it means is that once you got the first child, immediately call its method get child at get child at. So this in the same way, this is actually the same as this. So I'm just going to put a comment over here. Just to show you. Just to show you the difference here. Okay, so it's 3 lines versus 1 line. So programmers like to make things compact. So this 3 line is the same as this one. Okay, so now we got to use the IK mover class. Okay, so notice this 3. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it here for the time being. Now the IK mover class is used to animate joints in an IK armature. So once a new instance of IK armor mover class is created, you can move it to the joint to any other location. So let's just do this. Var mover 0 IK mover equals to new IK mover jt0 dot position. So what this says is that it creates an IK mover instance with the name of the joint, and this parameter here is the starting point of the movement. So in this case, the point will be derived from the current position of jt0, which is the point, which is the finger there. Okay. So once that's established, the move to method can be used to move the jt0 point to any location. So what you gotta do is the child. So one. So you got this item over here. So I'm just gonna unlock this one here. So child. So you're moving this one over here. Okay, so the next part here is to add an event listener to the snapshot button. Okay, so we'll move it only when the snapshot button is clicked. So we're going to come over here again. So we're going to do this snapshot button dot add event listener mouse event dot click on snapshot. So this is a method for us to respond when the user clicks the snapshot button. Okay, and we got to do this function on snapshot mouse event, and it doesn't return anything, so we leave it as that. Okay, so now we got an on snapshot event. So what we got to do is that we got to listen for the now we got to add event listener so that it creates an animation. So we got to come here, stage dot add event listener, event dot enter. Move down. So what this means is that when the user clicks the button, we'll call the move down method. So I'm just going to create this over here, function move down event void. So this is our method over here. Okay, so let's just have a look. And try it out. And hopefully there are no errors. Okay, so there's a problem here, which is actually the variable on snapshot. So let's have a look again on snapshot. So I'll just make okay, let's try one more time. I just got to put a trace statement as well to show that. Show this. So notice when I click the button, there's a response there. Okay, so that's basically for us creating the snapshot button. So let's just have a look at our item over here. So now notice that this snapshot clip, but instead of putting a trace snapshot clicked, we got to just say this. We got to say that the snapshot button should become invisible because we've clicked it once. So we're not going to let the user click it one more time. So here we have snapshot underscore button false. So that's it. Okay, so after that we've got our move down function. Now the move down button function will move the hand down and move it back up. Now how do we do an animation? We'll just use the enter frame event so that every time we enter a new frame, it will actually move the hand down. So let's come over here, move down. Okay, so in move down, what we gotta do here is that we gotta add a conditional statement. So if it hasn't reached a position yet, we'll keep on moving it. So over here, we'll just say if jt0.position dot y smaller than 395, and we gotta put one more else statement over here because we gotta create it so that if it hasn't gone to the position, we got to move it back a bit more. Over here, we got to just put in some lines here that says varp pt0 point 5 GT0 Okay, so that says, okay, let's just say the position is below 305. We got to create another point and we got to move it towards it. So we got to make thing on the point 5 pixels to the left and down of the current item. So after this, we got to say mover 0 dot move to pt0. Okay. So mover 0, as we remember, is actually an IK mover object instance. So we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna move this new point. Okay, so when it finally reaches the point, we gotta ask it to stop. So we gotta put in the following lines as well. Stage dot remove event listener, event dot enter frame, move down. So when we reach it, we move the listener here. So move add event listener. So now notice there's a move down function, and there's a move up declared, but we haven't created the move up. So let's just create the move up function. We just gotta run it. Okay, so it does move down. Okay, so unfortunately nothing makes it stop moving. So let's just come back to our ActionScript here. And we got to code the move up function here. Now the move up function says, okay, we got to move it back up. So if jt0.position.y more than 165, okay, else, okay, so over here we say if the position is more than 165, okay, let's create a new point. Sorry, and then we go put this here, gt0.position y -5. Okay, so that's our method over here. So over here it goes 0.01. Okay, so we gotta move it up. And we've got to put this inside as well. So mover. So keep moving it up. Else, if we already exceeded our position there, we got to say remove event listener, event, enter frame, and move up. So this says, let's move it back up. There you go. Now, of course, what you must do, remember, is to save as working copy. And save it. So make sure that it doesn't. Okay, so let's have a look at our code here. So okay, fine, we got to move it. Okay, okay, we happen to move it a bit too much over here. Okay, it's 395, but it should be 305. So let's try one more time. Let's try one more time, and we've got to click here, and it does that. Okay, so that's a little simple movement here. Okay, so the next part here is to create sound and sound channel instances. So we got two files, the robot arm and click mp3. So notice that we have these two sound mp3 files. So what we got to do is to play it in our system. So over here, this line over here, and we've got to play a small little sound effect. So var fx1 sound equals to a new sound. Okay, and fx1 dot load new URL request. always close your brackets first. Oh, sorry, MP3. Okay, so we got one sound here which we associated. We create a sound object and we load it. And we're not going to do anything like event listeners to make sure that it is loaded properly. Yes, in real life you put an event listener to only do settings after it's loaded, but we're only testing it locally, so we just leave it as this. Copy this and we got and call this fx2. We'll come here and click say click.mp3. So how do you play it? So over here in this line over here, when we click the snapshot, it says event enter frame move down. So what we gotta do is we gotta put this say channel 1 equals to fx1 play. That's it. So I'm gonna run it again one more time. Okay, so notice there's a sound being played one more time. Okay. So that allows us to play the sound effect when you move the thing down. So over here, else, once it reaches the position, we are going to stop the sound. So say channel 1 dot stop. Channel 2 equals fx2 dot play, and channel 1 equals fx1 play. So this is just the move down function. So let's go try one more time. Oops, it looks like I got an error here. More time. So in the move up position here, we got to just add one more thing here. Gotta stop the sound once it finishes playing. Okay, so that's it for adding sounds to our motion. The next part of our tutorial will be adding a user's webcam and video camera using ActionScript. Okay, so how do we do this? Okay, So now all this camera, especially with issues of privacy, you don't want to simply take a person's picture. There's a warning given by Adobe Flash before you click on it. So I'm just going to show you how it's done. And I'm going to put in this thing here. I'm going to just put a comment here, camera. Get camera. So we'll get the default camera. Okay. So we're just going to put here something video star. So this will enable us to use video functions. So we're going to say if camera not equals to null, that means make sure, because the person might not have a camera on his computer. I'm going to just type here else, and there it is. Okay, and over here we're going to say video, please do new video 160 120 video dot attach camera add child video, and the final part here is okay. So there we have it, the trace, and this allows us to access the camera. It gets the video and attaches the camera to it, creates a video, and we'll be able to display the video. Now if there is no camera, what we can do is that we can use a connection to a video file on our computer here instead. So let's just have a look at how the camera works. So notice now it's asking for me to access the camera and allow it, and you can see my face over here, and I can take a snapshot. Okay. Now unfortunately you can't see the picture that I took, so the next part is that we got to use the picture and we got display it on the in our stage here. So how do we take a picture? We use the bitmap and the bitmap data class. So we got bitmap, and the bitmap data will display what is stored in the bitmap data class. So over here, we got to put in some stuff here, which is BMP bitmap, and we got to go to the move down function. And now we're going to draw the item there. So what this does is that it creates a bitmap data to store the height and width of our camera. We are going to ask it to draw the information in our video. We've got to take the bitmap data and create a new bitmap, and we've got to put it on stage. So we've got to put it on stage, and we've got to say, we've got to put it at the coordinates of 220 to bmp.y equals to 20. And we're going to say BMP scale X. Okay, so notice I'm going to do that. I'm going to just show you how it works. So you can see me, I'm going to take a snapshot. Okay, so there's a picture there. So I'm just going to make it slightly bigger. Okay, so there we have it. And we're going to make it slightly bigger here. Come over here and then click, and notice there we got a picture here. Okay, so the next part is to use the Pixel Bender Toolkit. Now, if you're using Adobe Flash CS5, Pixel Bender Toolkit is provided. Unfortunately, the bad news is that from Adobe Creative Suite 6 onwards, the Pixel Bender Toolkit is no more provided. Now, if you want to find the Pixel Bender Toolkit, it's still available for download from this website over here. And you can come over here to download for the Macintosh or for Windows applications here. So you can click on this to download it and you can install it. So I'm going to show you how to use the Pixel Bender Toolkit. So over here we got this item here, and once you install it, it should be this item here. So I've got to open up the Pixel Bender Toolkit. So this is the Pixel Bender Toolkit. Now the Pixel Bender Toolkit is this utility that allows us to create some code. Okay, so I'm going to manipulate images. So I'm just going to open this. For example, I'm going to open maybe, okay, I'm just going to open, okay, maybe I'm going to open this one, this file here. Okay, so now we've got a nice little image over here. Okay, so now we've got to use a filter. So we've got to open up a filter. So what we've got to do is come to our lesson folder. And we've got to go to our Pixel Bender Toolkit. Okay, we've got to just select this one, open it. Okay, notice there's actually some code provided here that allows us to, which actually tells us how to bend the pixels here. So there's lots of code here, how to bend our picture. So we've got to come here and we've got to run it. So notice over here, what we've got to do is we can increase the twist angle, and you can see how I can twist our picture here. So this actually manipulates our image here. So you can choose the different picture you like. Use this one, And there you have it. So you can export these filters for use in Flash by choosing File, Export Filter for Flash Player. Okay, so we won't be doing this right now. In fact, we'll be using it with pre-created filters, but you can actually go to adobe.com and try to play around with this. Okay, so now we gotta use the pixel bender, File, AS. So let's go open up File, Open, and this file over here. Now this is a class which allows us to manipulate our image. Okay, so it's already done for you, so it's a sprite. So notice over here it is a file reference, it's a shader, there's a shader filter. So the shader is actually represents the pixel bender. The shader filter is used to apply the filter bender using ActionScript. And there's also a filter value and a filter name which we'll use to manipulate our filters. Now notice there's a function pbFilter. This is the constructor because it's the same name as the file and as the class. And the first parameter is a bitmap and the second is a value to manipulate to. Finally, when we come on down to this part over here on complete, it actually looks for a shader, radius, and all sorts of parameters here to apply. So what it says, okay, let's create a new shader, and then we get the name, and then we see is it the same name or something like that, and then we'll call this filter then. Okay, so you can view this file later on at your own leisure and see how it works. So let's come back over here. So let's just import some classes to enable us to use the filters. And we're going to use the slider to manipulate it. So what happens is that we are not going to show our text yet, only until we've taken a picture. So only once we create a filter, then only create a picture, then only we make the controls visible. Okay, so let's try and test it out now. Okay, and we're going to click snapshot. So not only when we've taken the snapshot does this thing appear. Okay, so now this button doesn't work, so let's just come back over here and then add in a function to allow us to manipulate the button over here. So we can say here filter button add event listener mouse event dot click on filter. Okay, then you can come here and say function on filter e mouse event void. Okay, so we gotta say when you got the filter, when the button somebody clicks it, we gotta create a new PB filter with our bitmap and with the f slider dot value. So what happens is that we create a PB filter that takes our bitmap and a filter value. And we're going to say create our slider. So over here, okay, let's take a button here. Okay, so now we've got to choose a filter. Now it opens up this over here. So we've got to choose filters for Flash. Okay, so I'm just going to take maybe something ripple blocks. Open this and notice there. So now we can see that it's manipulated. Now notice there's actually a slider here, but this slider doesn't work. So in our next section, what we're going to do is that we're going to be able to manipulate this option over here using the slider. Notice I can just choose this one as well. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so let's go on back to our tutorial. So we got to type here f slider dot add event listener. Thumb drag. So now what we want to do is that whenever the person just drags it without letting go, then we will change the image. We don't want to wait until he lets go of the slider. So the correct event is thumb drag. And of course we got to create the function value change. So if this is a slider event, so we just put here e slider event. And the return type is void. Okay, so over here we got just set the filter value to this slider value, and we got just say here that the text value is equal to filter dot filter name plus okay, and the final one is to call the onComplete in the FPB filter. So once you scan the common number of filter parameters, if it finds one that is contained, it will apply it and it will set that parameter value. So just add this code here, filter dot onComplete. Okay. So let's just test it one more time. Okay, take a picture, choose a filter, open up. So notice I can actually change the radius here. I can choose another filter. I can change amplitude. And there you have it. So thank you very much for finishing this lesson with me. I know it's a bit long, but we managed to go through it. You can try some things on your own. You can try to alter the graphics library used in armature layer, make your own IK armatures in the timeline. You can change the parameters of the move tool and try to make the arm move differently. We can set the JT0 variable to refer to different joints in the armature and check out the resulting animation. Or we can also use the draw method of the bitmap to draw instance of other display objects, and also you can try using the pixel bender toolkit. Well, while you can, even though it's not supported, it's still available to use. So thank you very much and see you in the next lesson.